Good afternoon, everybody. Today's the 29th of January 2017. I'm going to be going over a few trade ideas that I like for this week. First on the list is Wynn. Wynn's breaking out here of a flag setup, and I feel like we can get a little bit more continuation into this momentum push here. So even if the chart was to fill this gap here at $99.55, I would think that we can long it off that range if we can get this little gap here to fill, and then we can see a bigger upside move. Obviously a break over this range here would be an add spot for any long position. So I'm definitely looking at Wynn for some more continuation this week. If we don't get the gap fill over here down to the bottom and you still feel like you want to play it, you can always long it over the break of the high. It would be a momentum play then, and it wouldn't be a setup trade as good as if it was to come back and fill the gap. So for me, I'm looking either way. I can day trade it over the highs in the breakout, or I can wait for the pullback and get the setup trade then, where I would be more inclined to hold it for a couple days to see if I get more out of it. So obviously the both ways that it sets up gives you the idea if you want to continue to hold it or if you just want to day trade it. So there's your setup on Wynn. Next on the list is Q. There's a chart here that a play here that I like on the setup. The chart's making higher lows, closing over its 200 SMA. The wedge is very tight as it remains here now, so this is definitely something that I want to play. I want to long it obviously if it breaks the trend to the upside, and I want to short it obviously if it breaks the trend to the downside. For right now, chart's setting up pretty okay. Doesn't seem like we're gonna have to wait very long for a breakout either to the upside or the downside. So it's definitely something that I want to trade this week. Remember, this video is about trade ideas, and so I can give my general direction on where I think it's gonna go, but the ideas are here. Just have to wait for a lot of the setups to come in formation. Weight Watchers. So the chart's holding its 200 SMA on the daily. Keeps flagging and making smaller, higher highs as it moves up. Friday's session printed a bullish engulfing with some decent increase in volume here. So for what I want to do on Weight Watchers for right now is I don't mind longing it off the 200, showing that the range here is holding. So if the chart was to come down to the 200 SMA again, I have my 50 EMA right underneath it. I can long it off of that range in this off the 250 EMA average here, or I can play it off the trend line break. So if the chart comes and breaks the trend line to the upside, then it triggers an automatic buy, because obviously the breakout point. But if it was to settle and remain in this range here, I don't mind taking a few and testing it for a possible hold on a couple days and see what happens to it. POL, this chart's breaking out with some momentum, decent volume coming in, so I'd be looking for a continuation to the upside. A small pullback to about $34.05 puts you in some range of support here, and then take it on the long. I like this one for an upside. Feel like the chart has a little bit more potential if you go back on it a little bit. Chart has a little potential, being that it's breaking out of a tight zone here. Obviously has potential for a couple points to the upside if it can get going. EA Sports, love the breakout here. I'm just gonna leave it on 6 months, whatever. Love the breakout here on this huge chart formation. Chart's been making higher lows as it's coming off the 200 SMA. I like the chart for a continuation move to the upside. I don't think you're gonna get much pullback on it as the momentum's in now, and you probably can just get the chart to continue up. I'd be looking for about mid to upper 80s on this one if we can get that strength to continue into it. RRC. Okay, so this chart's it's just a chart play, really. Just stuff that I come up with while I'm scanning. Higher lows keep setting in. 813 crossover, chart closed over its 50 EMA. Increase in volume, so I do like it for a little bit more continuation to the upside here. I would play it off the pullback, obviously. If I was to get that pullback and it pins that pivot area right here, then that's definitely a long entry trigger for me. So if it was to pull back to this $35.25 range, that definitely for me comes as a long trigger. Live. So this is a low float, fast moving type of trade. So I would long it over the break of this pivot. If we was to get that breakout right there, I'd be long into it. For right now, you have an 813 crossover chart. Definitely seems like it's holding. It's flagging a little bit of volume increase, and this one can go. Now she has a lot of room if she wants to go. So I'm gonna play it over the break or the pullback and the hold into this range. You can see that whatever uptrend that it's trying to set in here, it's pretty consistent. Even if you long into that, you have an uptrend that you could respect for a stop out area. Next on the list is Acad. Small little flag breakout on this chart. Closing over the 200 SMA. I like it for a long, even where it sits right now. I think that we can have a continuation to the upside. Not a huge move until it breaks out, obviously, this pivot area here, which sits at about $33.36. So a break over that triggers a long, but I like it even where it sits. And any long position here, even if you want to just hold it for a possible swing trade, then you risk the lower Friday session as your stop out range. But I feel as long as the chart keeps holding this 50 EMA, she's probably good for a couple points to the upside. QCP. Simple chart here. Increase in volume, 813 crossover, some strong bars coming up into this move. Charts breaking out over this range here, which was the breakout pivot area. So now that it's over that, I'd play into momentum on this one only for right now, being that we obviously have 3 consecutive candles into it. So only momentum if you get the break over the highs. As far as for a day trade right now, you take the position and see if you can get it up. Chart has a lot of range if it wants to move. An ideal position would be a pullback to the breakout range first, but with the way that the chart's moving up right now, not sure if you're going to get that pullback right now. It could just be a little bit more momentum to the upside. Praa. Last one on this week's list. Huge bullish engulfing here on the daily. Candle engulfed 1, 2, 3 sessions before, so that's a strong breakout candle here. I'd be looking for continuation off of this candle. So a small pullback down to about $38 or so would be an ideal area of interest. You'd be have to make sure that this candle wick here does not cause for a head and shoulder on the trade and totally pull you back. So any position into it, you use the low of the previous day as a stop out area, as a I don't want to play it anymore area, just in case this shoulder rejects the move to the upside. If obviously the shoulder gets broken to the upside, should provide enough support for that move that I'd be looking for. So those are the 10 off the list that I'm looking at for this week. Obviously I'm going to be tweeting out some more about some more charts, because I do have quite a bit that I've scanned. And if you don't follow me, it's at ICEMAN Trading. And if you are interested in trading with me coming into February, I am taking sign-ups this weekend for February classes. Okay guys, have a good weekend. A good week.